I should be live now, but bro, I literally feel like a boomer. I just struggled with this for like 10 minutes. So let's see. I've got my
Phone
should be
stream
live.
up.
All right, perfect. What is up, guys? Got a small amount of y'all in here tonight, but very excited because we have a new addition to the show. It is this. Very excited about that. So, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome. It's just gonna be me tonight. My brother Myron is currently, I think, flying. He's on his way to South Carolina, so get ready to see his college debates. That should premiere tomorrow. He's going to be doing that with Uncensored America at 12 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to catch that. Subscribe to Uncensored America on YouTube. Find them on X. That's going to be a spectacle. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. All right, we're live. I sat here for 20 minutes struggling with this, bro. Literally could not figure it out. So we're up and we're rolling now. Man, this streaming thing is complicated. I have a lot of respect for people who do this full time, but I got a new computer. So guys, let me know how the quality is. I still have not the best camera, but I have a computer that should be able to support a much more involved streaming setup with OBS running and YouTube and everything like that. So this should be a higher quality stream. I've got the soundboard, I've got everything ready. So we're kind of official, but big announcement, and I'm gonna have to actually Don DeMarco for this. We got super chats. So please, if you want your chat read, send whatever you'd like, and just send it, send me some money. Send me some money. Give me some money so I need the money. No, but I have super chats on, so any chat will be read. I really appreciate all the support. Shout out to everybody in the chat who's here watching. But forgive me if there's some hiccups in the stream. I'm just figuring out kind of the flow of things. But should be a good stream. We're gonna get into Pam Bondi and the whole congressional hearing drama. That was really entertaining. U.S. politics has just become an entertainment spectacle at this point. And we're gonna watch Congress members press her. We're not gonna watch the whole 4-hour video, but we'll watch some clips, some really funny ones that I compiled from X. We'll get into the Epstein Files. I wanted to go over some of these code words that have been used in the Epstein Files. Me and my brother didn't get a chance to cover it our previous streams. We just had so much news. And we'll talk about Iran. We'll talk about the United States replenishing their B-2 bombers and things of that nature. But again, that story has been a little bit slow. Not much developments there besides the United States kind of arming up. And the Secretary of War, Department of Defense or whatever, also trying to up their missile capabilities and arsenal to match that of Iran's. Because unfortunately, war is imminent. Despite what people are saying, war is definitely imminent. And Netanyahu's meeting on Wednesday in Washington proved to be exactly why I'm saying that. But anyways, I really appreciate all the support. Did you mean for the video to be mirrored? Yeah, so I got a new computer, so the settings are like set differently, so it might be backwards. I think I can set it back, but I don't know if it's gonna screw up the stream. But like I don't have my original OBS settings. But it is, yeah, exactly. The Nike symbol is the right way, so it's mirrored. But anyways, we'll get into everything. I got a couple chats here, so shout out to you guys. I'll go ahead and read these. I'm new to this, so please, if I miss something, forgive me. OSS Small says WRIADO/ everyone please hit that like button. Thank you, my friend. Shout out to you. God bless. And then Ken Rose, $10. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate that. But yeah, we got super chats on. So we're running a real show here, okay? And I'm gonna have to keep the show YouTube friendly, okay? But I see some chats coming in. This is funny. And another aspect of streaming that is difficult to kind of understand or conceptualize until you're doing it. You're like looking at yourself on the OBS screen, and then you're getting chats at the same time. And sometimes somebody will say something really stupid or funny, and like you've got to lock in. So that was screwing me up in the beginning as well. But anyways, yeah, we will get into this without further ado. We'll go into I want to start with the Epstein Files, and we can start with this little video here that I thought was really interesting. Our friend Mario Nafal, I'm not sure the pronunciation of his last name, but he interviewed a forensic expert in regards to these code words that we see all over these Epstein Files. And don't worry, we'll get into the whole Pam Bondi situation, but I want to start with this because I really wanted to cover this on my brother's show a few days ago, but we didn't get the chance because the news was just booming. So I'll go ahead and pull this up on screen here. You guys should be able to see that. And we'll go through this video, take a look at it. And by the way, if anybody has any, let me just say this, I apologize. If anybody has any videos they want me to react to, anything like that, just send it in the chat as well. Send me a link and I'll be able to click on it and pull it up for everybody to see. As long as it's YouTube friendly, we've got to stay YouTube friendly here, unfortunately. All right, so we got to be a little clean. All right, we got to be kid friendly because we've got to make the money. We've got to make the money. We've got to make the money. But anyways, let's get into this video. Here, I'll finish reading chats. There's one more chat. Thomas Muller says, here's some shekels for you, G. Thank you so much for the $5 and the £5. Do you have the FOSS now? Yes, I do. I do. I do have it. So I've actually got a couple. I've got a few good ones. I know my brother has that one, and then he has this one. This one's really good. But he does not have another one. I got the Fortnite pump one. This one's funny. So yeah, I got Soundboard, Stream Deck. Super easy to set up. And we have a, manageable setup here. I can make do with this. I got a triple monitor going. For anybody who cares for PCs or any PC nerds out there, I got an HP OmniDesk 32 gig with NVIDIA encoding or something, so the video doesn't lag and stuff like that. And so if you watch the previous streams, we were dropping frames a lot because I was not only hosting the Zoom meeting, but I was also screen sharing for you guys to see, whilst simultaneously showing my brother's perspective and my angle as well from the camera. And so I was on a MacBook. I was running this all from a MacBook, and so the MacBook was not keeping up, dude. It was struggling. But we got a PC now. It should be good. It's not like a pre-built, or it is a pre-built PC. It's not a gaming PC. But, I went to Best Buy, and I was like, hey, nigga, give me the best PC you got. And he was like, well, what do you need it for? And I'm like, well, I stream. And he was like, well, what do you stream? And I was like, bro, you're asking mad questions. I just need the PC, bro. I'm like, yo, I just need a PC. He's like, what do you stream? I'm like, I just, do games and stuff. Because I didn't really want to, controversial stuff that we do over here. And obviously my brother being who he is, I don't want to, just blow the lid and cover on my shit. So I'm really careful about that. But, yeah, I told him, I'm like, yeah, I need a good PC. And he's like, all right, well, we got this one for like $2,100. I said, whoa! I said, buddy, we don't got $2,000, okay? I need a good PC, but I don't need to play Fortnite and also stream that and then watch a video at the same time. Well, I just, I need to be able to screen share, interact with my screen, use Zoom, and so he recommended this to me. So yeah, it's the HP OmniDesk, 32 gig. It's good, it's smooth, man. It's a day and night difference from the MacBook. MacBooks are not really meant for. It was a 16 gig MacBook Pro. And I'm not talking about storage, by the way. I'm talking about, I guess, memory is what it's called. And that's the computer's capability of running several things at the same time, I think. I really don't know what I'm talking about. So feel free to correct me. And so, yeah, I got a good PC, man. We should be good. We shouldn't drop frames. If we drop frames, I'm going to crash out. I still have the receipt. I'm going to throw this computer at this nigga's head. Because I was in there for an hour making sure I got the right PC. I wanted to ensure I had the right merchandise for the job. So, yeah. But, how much was it? I didn't even say, it was $1,200. I think the PC was like $1,200. I got another monitor because now I don't have the MacBook. Remember, I had the MacBook as a third screen hooked to these two monitors that are directly in front of me. And so I needed a third monitor as well. It should just, when you buy stuff for a stream, it just piles up. Because I'm buying the monitor and then I'm like, oh, now I need a keyboard because I don't have the laptop anymore. Then I need a mouse. And now I need new HDMI splitters because Mac OS is not the same thing as Windows, and they don't use the same docking hubs most of the times. And then I had to buy brand new HDMIs, and it added up. So it came out to $1,700 or something, but pretty good bargain for everything I got together. I understand for the computer nerds, you could have got a built PC for $800, dude. Yeah, I know, bro, but I'm not going to go through the hassle of asking somebody to build a PC. I don't know anybody who builds PCs, and I just wanted to get that shit over with. I'm somebody, when I want something done, I just do it, bro. I have anxiety when I know something's on my to-do list and I don't get that done. So I got that shit done right away. So we're here, we're live, and tax write-off, facts. But yeah, we got more chats here. I'll read these and then we'll get into everything. And if there's anything you guys want me to cover, go ahead and ask in the chat. I should be able to see it. It's not the fastest moving chat. We don't got that many people in here. So go ahead and send in your request. Or super chat your request if you like, if you like, maybe the day will come where the chat's moving too fast. I can't look at your stuff for free, so send me the money. But anyways, Mo Life, Mo Prosperity, $10. Congrats, my guy. Thank you so much, my friend. God bless. Got another chat here. Jose Diaz, $20. OSS in the building. Yes, OSS is in the building. Shout out to all of you guys. I'm sure this is many OSS members, so God bless all of you guys. Can you leave the lives on your channel? Yeah, so the last good question, that's from Peter. Peter dick him down. All right, bro. $2. Thanks. I had to take that last live off because we were reacting to the Super Bowl show, and I had a little bit of a copyright mishap, and so I wanted to play it safe and just remove that. I didn't want any issues with YouTube, so I just got rid of that. I didn't even want to keep it up. And I know you can cut the stuff out of the live after you upload it or leave it on the channel, but it wasn't worth it. If you want to go watch the full live, I think it's on my brother's Rumble anyways. And so we went into a bunch of stuff on that video, so that's where you can find it. But I'll try to leave everything that I do live on the channel. I'll try to leave it on the video hub, on the video feed for you guys to watch back if you ever want to see it. But you know, I gotta play it safe, man. I gotta play it safe. Here's some shekels for you. Already read that. Thanks. Congrats, my guy. Thank you for that. Roni 3 OSS $5. Thank you so much, my friend. God bless. Let's see, what else do we have here? Red Pill XXX $20. Thank you so much, my friend. Yeah, we got chats. Doesn't it feel good? Super chat on YouTube, guys. I know you guys aren't super used to that, so it's nice. It makes things convenient. Obviously, because my brother has a Streamlabs link and everything like that. Mind modding me? Yeah, bro, I'll give it to you. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. All right, I think that's it for chats. We're caught up. So we'll get into this. Does it have an RTX card? I believe it does. Okay. Bishop, salam alaikum. What's going on, bro? What's going on, Akhi? I believe it does have an RTX card. And so I think the guy at Best Buy was telling me it needs some sort of NVIDIA RTX, something like that. So because when the computer runs the camera and also you're screen sharing and then also you're on Zoom, when I have my brother on, it's like working very hard. And so, are you regulated? All right, I got to focus. And so somebody just chatted that. And so I had to make sure I got the right computer, man. The right stuff for the job, but we should be good. How's my audio sound? Don't troll me. It should be good. It's a little loud on my end, so I'll just turn this down here so I'm not cooking myself. But guys, if there's any mishaps, please let me know. This is a work in progress in terms of making sure the stream is high quality for you. So if there's an issue, you got to let me know so I can make sure the stream is watchable. Justified Misogyny 3635 says, "Are you regulated?" Sneeko BB Boys. Yeah, Sneeko's really good at that. Why are you regulated? Why are you guys regulated? Well, I thought it was free speech, right? Why are you regulated? So, what were they talking about? Burger King? Really big blunder on Nelk Boy's part for having him on. But that was funny. Regulated was insane. Okay, audio's good. Audio's good. Shit kind of low. Okay, I can turn it up slightly. I turned the audio up a little bit, but it should be good. Keep in mind, guys, if you've got like shitty ass headphones, it's just never going to sound that good. This is a really good mic. Shout out to my brother for funding it, but it's a really good mic, so it should sound good. It may not sound the crispest. I'm in like a room. I don't have acoustic pads and acoustic foam all over the place, and so it may not sound the best, but we make do with what we have, all right? I'm a numbers guy. I can't do Patrick Bet-David. I can't do Patrick Bet-David. I think your sound is coming from your camera, not your mic. Is it? You're trolling me. No, it's not. Liar. Timu earbuds. All right, buddy. These are like $200. The mic isn't on? Okay. Check mic source. Let's see. Oh! That should sound a lot better. That should sound a lot better. Tell me how that sounds, guys. How's that? That should be much better. I apologize. I didn't even... Shout out to you. Thank you, my friend. That should sound much better. Yo, this is like a something $100 mic, bro. So... much better. Okay, yeah. Go figure. There we go. Yeah, we're official now. We're official now. Let me know if it's too loud. But we're official now. Okay, much better. All right, all right. All right, no more whining. Should be high quality from here. And you guys should be able to hear the soundboard, but I'm seeing it come up on OBS. So quick test. You guys can hear. One's in the chat. One's in the chat if you can hear that as well. I want to make sure we're good before we get into screen sharing and stuff. So one's in the chat if you can hear that. We crispy now. Yeah, we're crispy, bro. Ones. Okay. Nice. Nice. Okay, good. All right. We got more chats. I should let these pile on and just read them later, but it's fine. I'll read them now. Are you as tall as your brother? No, my brother, he says he's 6'3", bro. That nigga's 6'4". He's very tall. And when you wear shoes, you automatically always gain like an inch of height. So he's really like 6'5", if we're being real. Like if he wears boots or some shit, he's like 6'5". So my brother's very tall. I'm like 6'2". So he's got like an inch or two on me. If I'm wearing shoes, then I'm like 6'3". Cheers to breaking out of the Matrix. Thank you so much. That's from We're Legion. Okay, I'm not out of the Matrix yet though, bro. So we gotta play it safe. Although that'll probably come to an end if I keep doing this. They're gonna cook me, but it's fine. All right, are we good on chats? I think we're good on chats. I'm always afraid somebody will send a chat and I don't see it. Do you speak Arabic? Yeah, I speak Arabic. Not really fluently, like not crazy well, but I can speak Arabic. I can communicate. 6'7". All right, brain rot. And then like the video, please, guys. Get my engagement up. We're new here. Need good engagement, so please like the video if you're already in here. All right, we'll get into the news. Enough stalling. Let's go over this Epstein video, or this video by Mario. Very well known on X. He does really great work. I recommend you guys follow and subscribe to him. He's really updated on the news. And so he went on and interviewed this forensic expert in regards to these code words on the Epstein Files. If you're not familiar, there's like these weird code words in the Epstein Files that are super vague, that are missing a lot of context, like beef jerky, pizza, grape soda. And it's important to be charitable when you're reading the files because you can make a conclusion really quickly, and humans tend to have an issue of, believing what they want to believe when they're looking for something. And so you just got to be mindful about that. And that's why I haven't really spearheaded this whole Epstein deep dive and going into the files, because there's just so much missing context that is failing to put together larger, clearer pictures for people to gain a better understanding. That's not being apologetic of Epstein. Obviously, he's a sick, twisted sex trafficker who's a foreign asset. But, in certain situations, I believe when the files were scanned, certain characters were missing, and so you'd see like an equal sign or like a backslash in place of what should be a number or a letter, and so that kind of led people to be making these silly conclusions. I remember one example was in regards to the ages of the victims, and people were reading like 9-year-old, 6-year-old when the one was just missing, and it was an equal sign before either of those numbers. And so when they sent out the new files, or it was updated or something like that, it actually ended up saying 16 or 19. And so you got to be relatively charitable in reading these files. You got to be fair, because we want to come to the truth. We want to expose the sick and twisted doings of this guy and his whole blackmail ring. But at the same time, we need good evidence. And I'm not saying it always has to be a smoking gun, but it needs to be somewhat concrete so you don't seem crazy. You got to be credible. You got to be credible in your analysis. So that's really important. But regardless, there really are some weird code words that are super conspicuous in these files. And so we're going to take a look at them. But before that, I want to watch this video and give you guys a little bit of an overview. This is an interesting interview that came across my timeline on YouTube, and I thought it'd be great to watch on stream.
As you continue going through your files, another thing I want to get your thoughts on is the reference to pizza. We talked about it earlier. I'll give you another example here. Epstein sends a message to someone. She looks pregnant, reacting to a photo. And the client replies back to Epstein, "You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza." I cannot be clearer than this, that this is a code word. It makes no sense in that context whatsoever. And this on top of the example I gave you earlier, when his virologist gave him the medicine for having an erection, erectile dysfunction, I assume, or it could be even Viagra, and then told him to wash his hands, go have pizza.
I see your chat. Hang on. There we go. Okay, mic should be good now. That should be much better. Sorry. We do it live. It's my first time. Please have some grace, have some mercy. All right, but you should hear me through the mic here and from the full screen. So we're good there. But anyways, let's continue with the video. Sorry.
And grape soda has been mentioned time and time again. Having adult men successful men that are very health oriented constantly talk about pizza and pizza with grape soda, which I've never heard before.
Yeah, I've never heard of pizza and grape soda before this. I don't know if that specific combination was part of the whole Pizzagate thing, but it's definitely mentioned a lot because I saw that phrase, so I looked it up and was like, is this actually like in there multiple times? And it most definitely is.
There's another one here. Have you seen the beef jerky mentions as well? There's an email here.
Pay attention to this. This is where I was really like, this is what caught my attention. This is what I actually wanted to go into the files myself for.
From Jeffrey Epstein, someone else says, Francis has time to come tomorrow to show me how to make it. Jerky, anyone? He will also bring you a taste of his jerky recipe from the restaurant and sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called Cook's. Wait for it, beef jerky and steak. He has time at 3 p.m. And there's other emails of him talking about beef jerky. Another one here is Jeffrey Epstein sending it to Steve Hansen saying, hope you're feeling better. Did we analyze the beef? Did we analyze the jerky? Now there's talks about jerky, referencing human meat. It could be for scientific research.
Now, I don't know about you guys. How many times a day do you even say the word beef jerky, nigga? How many times a day do you even say the word beef jerky, bro? Again, I don't want to be Mr. Schizo. I don't want to be conspiracizing and be a conspirator, but there really is something to be said about that. And we'll look at the files in a moment, but you gotta be crazy to not give this any sort of weight or any sort of forensic investigation or analyzation. There's something to this.
Could be something else that's even sicker. But there's more emails here talking about beef jerky. Have you had time to go through those? There's one here. Thank you so much. Super cool. IT guy setting up Surface right now. We are ridiculously excited, and beef jerky delicious. Thank you, Thanksgiving. So yeah,
it is very. Now I've got all those emails saved. I'd actually had somebody send to me all of those to say, hey, would you check this out? So I have them. I have not read through all of them, but there's no shortage of terms that are phrased in a peculiar way. Muffin is another one. I've seen that a couple of times. I talked about when he says whoops. That seems to be in very sometimes he says that in very odd terms that seem like they're referring to somebody dying or getting killed. So there definitely seem to be code words. So the pizza and grape soda thing, here's one example of that. So yeah, this is better than a Chinese cookie. See attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. Go no, or go. I don't know what I was supposed to say, but there actually is a picture later on from one of his friends of actual pizza and grape soda. But what this does is that if you went to law enforcement and said, I know there's something to this, then they went through and started going through. They'd say, well, he took a picture of pizza and grape soda. It would never go anywhere just based on things like that. So,
or could be a practical joke, like if they're friends,
right.
and let's say pizza and grape soda references little girls below the age of 18 or even below the age of 16. If that's what it references, as a dark, sick joke, one of the friends could just take a photo of pizza and grape soda as a joke, like, hey,
that's right.
Ha ha ha.
Absolutely. So it doesn't prove anything other than if law enforcement was to start looking at this, they would look at that and go, well, it's literal. You're being crazy. Stop it. So, it benefits them to do those kinds of things, even if it is a reference to something else, because there's a photo of that immediately would negate a lot of the potential interest that law enforcement might have in something like that. So there are little things like that all of a sudden change the dynamic. Yeah.
And just, what's weird is just having so many emails talking about things like this, like beef jerky here. Another email subject is beef jerky. A small insulated bag would be just fine. I wouldn't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. The titles is beef jerky. High redacted. Mm-hmm. There's one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also redacted has more at her place. Please get it from her as well and bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a...
Okay, so we're going to look at these in a moment. Super odd. And I took a look at some of these emails myself on the DOJ website, and you can do that. Just it's punch in the search bar, DOJ/Epstein. You have to verify you're 18. And then you can type in whatever keyword you want, and you can search through all of these files. And very quickly, the DOJ finally, after so much runaround, which we'll get into when we go into the Pam Bondi congressional hearing, released all of these files, at least 3.5 million. That's just over half of the total amount. With the redactions, there's still so much groundbreaking evidence for something really sinister going on. So let's take a look here. I had this tab open, and this is where you can go, guys, to take a look at any of the files or the emails and things like that. And you can punch in a key term in the search bar, search full Epstein library. And obviously right here, I typed in beef jerky. This shit has 149 results. Again, I understand it's emails spanning of several years, many different recipients, many different people sending these emails. I'm well aware, and I'm trying to be charitable. I don't want to jump the conspiracy bridge so quickly. I want to be fair in reading and analyzing many of these. And so that's why I took it upon myself to look the other day. And I immediately realized, wow, I probably should do this on stream because a lot of this cannot be explained. I mean, I would challenge you to go through some of these emails I'll pull up here and be the person who's actually defending it. And you would find how difficult it would come to be. So this is the first one. And this was in August of 2012. Obviously, a bunch of redactions. So good job to the DOJ for that. And that's why they got cooked in the congressional hearing. But regardless, I thought that these were really interesting. So that would be perfect if you leave it with the doorman. I will be home in about 2 hours. All right, who's leaving beef jerky with a doorman? All right, that'll be perfect. I'll be in touch about it. So they're obviously discussing meeting. Beef jerky is still drying. About another hour or so till finished. What is the best way to get it to you? Look, I mean, beef jerky does need a drying and curing process. It does need a process in which, you make it and it solidifies. I assume that has to do with beef jerky. By the way, a super mid snack. It's not that good. But look, I'm being charitable here. And so I'm trying to read these at face value like anybody else would and come to a reasonable conclusion. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein really loved beef jerky. So that's my initial reaction. Although there's no public information of his affinity for jerky or anything like that, I'm trying to be charitable in reading these. So we move forward, and if I remember these in their correct order, this is the one I wanted to go to, and Mario just spoke about this email. Sunday, April 10th, 2016, the CC is Karina Schuliac, which is Epstein's most recent girlfriend before he passed away in prison. And this email reads, on Sunday, April 10th, 2016, a small, and obviously the context is not all given, but one can make the assumption that, this is some conversation in prior to travel about bringing beef jerky and having it with you, whatever. A small insulated bag would be just fine. I wouldn't recommend checking it. By the way, pay attention, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Some of the characters are missing. So you see that equal sign. It's very obvious to assume or make the presumption that would be a D. Wouldn't. But you can see that with some of the ages being confusing and causing some people to jump the gun and make false conclusions. So bear that in mind when you're looking through these emails. But anyways, we'll continue. I wouldn't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. All right, so which one is it? Does it need ice or is the bag insulated? Also, does beef jerky ever need ice? And if the bag is insulated, what the fuck are you icing? What are you icing? So this is, anyways, I'll keep going before I finish here. Hi, blank, obviously redacted name. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also, blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well and bring it all with you. I suppose it needs to be in a cold insulated bag, right? Yeah, last time I went in the gas station, nigga, beef jerky was in a normal bag in a room temperature but gas station environment. What is going on? Something is up here, okay? Beef jerky is not what we think beef jerky is, all right? So, and we'll go through the other code words, but I mean, if you just go through any of these emails, okay? And I'm not saying it's, human meat, what everybody's saying, but look, man, it sure as hell ain't beef jerky. We got to be honest in that aspect, okay? Again, here we go with this obsession of beef jerky. This is later on. This is June 27, 2016. Of course, redacted names, but some name that you'll find common in many of these emails is, again, Karina Schuliac, and we'll go through who that is in a moment. And it says here, of course, I did drop a few bags off at the house. Did those get eaten already? Sent from my iPhone. Continues on to read from the other person. Hey, would it be possible for you to make another batch of beef jerky for J.E., i.e. being Jeffrey Epstein? Please, he is running out. Again, really, really weird. This, I don't think the best attorney on the planet could make an argument for this. Beef jerky is clearly not beef jerky, okay? We can see if we find another one. I think there was another one I saw that was, yeah, like, what are we doing here? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. All right, bro. Without a doubt, I don't think they're talking about beef jerky. Anyway, so the name that we saw previously, which was Karina Schuliac, and I believe it was in this email right here to Karina Schuliac, this is the post right here. This is his ex-girlfriend. So Mario posted this again. Great job on his analysis here. Epstein Files confirm his last girlfriend was Karina Schuliac. She's a 36-year-old dentist from Belarus who met him post-2008 conviction and stood to inherit $100 million cash, a 33-carat diamond ring, 48 loose diamonds, all this stuff. Properties like Paris Apartments, all this, okay? Little St. James Island, that being Epstein Island, by the way. And all of his secret are all via his secret 1953 trust signed days before he died, okay? And this is her. And Epstein could have did better, nigga. What the fuck? They look crazy. I mean, maybe there's potential. I don't know. But this is his ex-girlfriend. And she went crazy on Twitter, apparently. I have this post right here. This nigga Cash Patel. I have this post right here. This was her tweeting. I don't know when this was, to be honest. Is there anybody know in chat when she tweeted this? But this is legit. I know Osmond Gold went through this. They sacrificed children to Lucifer. It's an entire cult. Jeffrey got involved in their operation for financial reasons and to obtain compromise, which is like pretty much blackmail. But he never participated in those rituals. I'm not unalivable. I can't say that word on YouTube just in case. You'll know the whole truth soon. After years of silence, the truth, Jeffrey Epstein was innocent, trapped by powerful people who silenced him. I was his last confidant, and I still have the evidence they're still hiding. Okay, I have the evidence and they're still hiding. Sorry. So, yeah, I mean, look, you take what you want from that. You conclude whatever you want to conclude. Definitely something very weird here. People go crazy. I'm very reluctant to trust people, even when they're directly associated with the people who are responsible for said crimes or the ones being investigated. And so I'm, I walk over eggshells with this stuff because it always takes one piece of context that's missing to make everybody go, oh, and that's the example I was talking about with some email that was released. Jake and Nick were going back and forth on Twitter about it over Epstein emailing some associate in regards to some girls attending a hot yoga class. And so the ages had read as 6 and 9 because of the equal sign and some of the characters not being redacted, but not being correctly scanned in the process of these emails being processed for the DOJ to release. And so it read as like, hey, are the 6 and 9-year-old girls ready for yoga? And once everybody were able to piece the missing puzzle pieces, it actually read as 19 and 16. And so you got to be careful and you have to be charitable in reading some of these emails and assuming, not necessarily the best, but always assuming that maybe there's a piece of context that's missing that will, not allow you to bridge the gap between a crazy conspiracy and something super normal. It's no secret that Epstein was a, sex trafficker, and obviously a sex trafficker who targeted younger minors, but you got to be careful in announcing what the ages are and things like that, because you just want to be concrete in this stuff. We have a bunch of files to work with. Pam Bondi is under a ton of pressure. The DOJ is under a ton of pressure. Trump is probably the most stressed he's ever been. Let's take our time in finding credible evidence and being charitable upon investigation. But yeah, really weird. I will not sit here and act like that's not weird. Very, very odd. So that's something I wanted to go through. We'll type in the next key term here and see if we can find anything else. But I did see some chats come through, so I don't want to let these pile up on me. So we'll read through these very quickly. Forgive me. Oh, my brother's in the chat. Shout out to Myron. Shout out to Myron. Let me read these from the top really quick. Okay. You got a lot of chats. Yeah, I just love that YouTube turned the chats on. Isn't that amazing? Anyways, Emily Jess, my boy Chesco, W Rad, man, big things 2026. Thank you, bro. Love you. Flex the waves on Myron next time. Bro, I really don't have waves, bro. It's just from the side. But like, bro, the top of my head is straight, bro. I don't brush my hair anymore. These waves are like trained from middle school, bro. I have not brushed my hair in years. I just get haircuts once a week and call it a day, bro. God honest with you. Oy vey, oy vey. All right, thanks, Chesco. $2. You're a blessing. Keep it up. God bless you, Andre ZDTV. Myron's bro has a hairline. Okay. Opinion on, and my brother has hair. I don't know why people say that. His hair is back, bro. His hair is back, but I don't know. Fresh and fit. Sometimes I watch those shows and have my doubts about his hair staying where it is. Opinion on NYC. What do you mean, like my opinion on New York City just in general? I love NYC. I live right next to NYC. I know my brother hates it. I like New York. Look, you got to take New York in strides. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm very close to New York, but you get tired of it because you visit it so often and it's very overwhelming. There's a lot going on. Sometimes it stinks, and you know, the political environment and behavior of New York is opposed to that of what I find to be truthful. So, I mean, New York is cool, but you got to take it in doses and waves. I'm not a big fan of, like, you know, living in New York for weeks at a time. I've done that before. I didn't like it. Chats on screen. Yeah, we'll set that up. I have no idea how to do that. You got to call Myron for that one, bro. I'm going to ask him how to do that. Mom lives here and I'm her only fam, but it's money here. Oh, I'm assuming you're talking about New York. That's from Lucas. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, New York is super expensive too. Yeah, bro, here's the problem with New York. Taxes are through the roof. Okay, income taxes through the roof. Mom Donnie's mayor now. I mean, you can't own a car. You got to walk everywhere, and I really love to drive. All right, I guess these are personal grievances rather than general ones. I mean, everything is accessible to you. Like, the subway is dirty, and it's just so congested, and a city doesn't have to feel that way. Don't get me wrong, New York has endless amounts of motion, but I don't know. And New York is just like, you know, you don't need a lot of it to get tired of it, and that's just me. It's personal opinion. You did it. Yes, I did, bro. We did it, not I did it. Thank you so much, bro. I love you. $100 from Myron. Keep those coming in, bro. More chats. $100 help me out. You know, you do that like 3 or 4 more times, I might be able to just quit right now. Young Swerve said Riyadh X hairline. Okay, very funny. Dominicano, thank you, my friend. Halus says, yo, Riyadh, really like you and your brother's content. Seems like you've trained yourself to be the intellectual. You've trained yourself to be the intellectual you are today. Love from Texas. Yeah, I mean, look, I've learned a lot from my brother, man. To be honest, that's really why I'm able to speak on topics and stuff. And I understand that, you know, I can speak decently, and so that helps me. And that is another thing that I have on my side. But I learn a lot, if not everything, from my brother. So you thank him for that. And I use my free time to watch educational stuff. You know, I don't really watch TV like that. I don't want to be cringe like, I don't watch TV. I only read books, and I only watch things that educate me. But that's what I find entertaining. I can sit down and watch a World War II documentary and not skip a beat, be focused the entire time. But if you put on Love Island, I can't watch it. So that's just how I am. That's the kind of thing that intrigues me. TV is not really like my thing. I love to watch YouTube, like educational stuff like that video with Mario. That's the stuff that kind of gets me going. So I'm able to like acquire some information, but you know, I'm not that smart, man. Hello, sir. Willie P6T says, hello, sir. I know as I feel like an OSS. Good riddance, bro. You got this. I'm known as I feel like an OSS. I'm known as I feel like an OSS. You're killing me, man. What do you mean? I'm known as I feel like. Hey, bro, God bless you. I'm not sure if I understand that chat. All right, let's keep going here. Okay. Brother X hairline, we read that. NYC, great place to live, but sucks to live. Great place to visit, but exactly. Great place to visit, but sucks to live there. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Again, you got to take it in waves, man. Myron got me to 100K. That's from JK Striker. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that. L English. Yeah, that chat really. I'm trying to like understand. You know, you guys are sending me money, so I want to try and give your chats the justice they deserve. But you guys are confusing me here, man. Make sure you're reading back your chats before you send them out. Josie says, "Aren't you the greatest? Aren't you the greatest? Look, isn't he the greatest?" Thank you, also. I appreciate that, bro. Love you. Yeah, we're working on the Trump impression. You got to do the forward lean. You got to put the hands out side to side like this. Okay? For the Trump impression 101, okay? You got to do the forward lean. I don't want to stand up here because you got to do the forward lean, okay? You got to get the hands like this. And then sometimes he drops his hand like that, and you just got to, isn't he the greatest? I mean, would you look? He's the best, isn't he? He's so smart. I like that. And you just kind of point and you don't even got to do the voice right. If you could just do that accurately, you're chilling. So that's kind of like how you can do a good Trump impression. All All right, I think we're caught up on chats. If you sent the chat, I didn't catch it. I'm really sorry, man. I don't know how to like pile them in one place. Yeah, YouTube just turned my shit on today, man. I'm new to this, bro. So please have some patience with me. But anyways, let's go back in here and look at some more terms. We could do the really popular one that everybody's going crazy about, being pizza. Okay. Yeah, I'm 18. I said that already. Okay. Let's see. So we can click the first one here. So pizza more. Mr. Epstein would like to see the menu from pizza place. Could someone send it, please? All right. See, like this is like, look, and I understand somebody might say that's weird and this is really weird, but again, this can be super normal, right? Maybe he's dead ass asking about a pizza place, so you got to be fair there. But as you continue to look, they just get a little bit more conspicuous and weird. I can't remember which one I saw, and it was on the first page here. Bank statements and stuff. Let's see. Feeney asking about pizza party this weekend. The thing to pay attention to here is this has 820 results, bro. So again, I know this is years of email threads being compiled together, but some of these are weird. Like this one, your pizza is yummy, yummy. All right, bro, we're not talking about pizza here. No one says that in an email thread, no matter how much of a boomer they are. This is 2015, by the way. Thank you for the pizza today. Really good. XO. Really weird stuff. So if you guys take it upon yourself, you have the liberty in doing it. It's available to you now via the DOJ website. You can look at some of these videos, or sorry, these emails, and see some really weird stuff. This is a thread. It says here from Diane, thank you. We love to have blank here with us. He is too cute. Have a great week. We're off to a bad start already. Thanks for taking the boys for pizza. Blank said, blank was sad. He had to leave the fun. Hope y'all have a great time skiing. Be safe. And then blank wrote, you got it. Blank wrote, yum, that looks good. The boys are really cute too. I just need blank by 4:10 p.m. He needs a quick shower, then going to doctor for his annual checkup. And then this ends here, kids are hungry. Subject, pizza time. So again, we can see this recurring theme with pizza being the center of conversation. No one talks like this, all right? No one talks like this. Whatever they're referring to is clearly not pizza. There's conspiracies, of course, that they're talking about human meat and all this stuff. I'm sure as hell to tell you it ain't pizza, but I can't tell you what it is in place of that. And I know Ian Carroll and all these other guys do a really good job of breaking this down, so I'm sure they have a much more thorough investigation, and they're able to verbalize an investigative board very well for you guys to understand. But just at face value, it doesn't take an expert to go through these files and go through some of these emails, even with the redactions, and go, yeah, this is really weird. Good afternoon. Would it be possible for Bryce and I to go over to Red Hook and have a quick pizza meal? Warmest regards. Again, this could be normal. This could be really weird. Ultimately, though, the amount of times pizza is mentioned is really weird. I think grape soda was one term. Try that one. And that gives us just one page of results, not too many. So we can go through many of these. This is better than a Chinese cookie. Okay, see attached. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand. Really odd, all right? Who says that in an email? Why is it doing that? DOJ is trying to kick me off the website, man. Matrix attack. Make sure attack's starting early. Okay. What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow? This is from Harry Fish. Okay, really odd. This one's a bit lengthy. Oh, these are text messages. Dinner tonight, Thursday with Woody. I'm in what time? 7. Should I bring Kasha from Second Ave Deli? Okay, pastrami also had for breakfast. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Here, let me minimize this so you guys can see. Where's the mention of, what the hell? Too much Kishka results in this sound. All right. This is a test. What's the name of this cookie? This goofy ass text thread, bro. All right, let me get off of here before something comes up that YouTube is going to ban me for. But yeah, really weird mentions. And what was the third term? Pizza, grape soda, beef jerky. I think beef jerky is the most remarkable one. So if you want to take a look, try beef jerky. There's a lot of results. Even if you go on a random page and I go here, look, like this is an actual recipe here. At least it seems. But again, like that forensic expert was mentioning, that's what people do to make sure they cover their tracks when they're doing illegal things, especially when they mention beef jerky as conspicuously and out of context as these emails are doing them. So things to keep in mind. But this is what I wanted to go through with my brother the other day. Here, this is the last one we'll read, and then we'll move on. So this says, Jay is still dieting for now. He is not eating much at all, mostly straight protein. Okay, bro, forgot the O. Protein. I will send with him tonight beef jerky. He's eating a good amount of this throughout the day, and I send 4 large Ziploc bags. All right, bro. All right, bro. Let's start this over. Jeffrey Epstein is still dieting for now. He is not, and I understand maybe he's on a carnivore diet, and a lot of people use this to lose weight, but there are no public records of Jeffrey Epstein being obsessed with beef jerky to the point where he'll eat this many damn bags a day. I think if he loved beef jerky this much, somebody would come out and say it. There'd be some sort of public information available. And as I've looked and other people have looked in the space, there's none of that. But anyways, Jeffrey Epstein is still dieting for now. He's not eating much at all, mostly straight protein. I will send with him tonight beef jerky. He's eating a good amount of this throughout the day. I am sending 4 large Ziploc bags. That's a lot. Okay. We have gone through about 70 pounds of steak for beef jerky in the last 2 weeks. No joke. Lynn, please put it out in small amounts and make sure you keep refilling it when he finishes. Muffins, yogurt, granola, other things that she's mentioning here. I don't know if this is as relevant. But again, what do I think? I think beef jerky might be a code word for something that's no bueno. All right. And I'll leave it there. Okay. I'll leave it there. Look, you got to give the people on X their credit. And it's important to be careful when you're looking on X. I can't tell you how many fake and fabricated emails I've seen. With the use of AI now and everybody having ready access to Photoshop and everybody being relatively proficient at Photoshop these days, you got to really be careful because you can get strung along a rabbit hole of brain rot conspiracies. And so just go into the DOJ website and look at it yourself, or trust your sources, verify your sources, make sure or ensure that the people that you're getting this from are actually credible people, and you make that discernment for yourself. But really weird. But I want to move on. I want to switch gears here and go into Thomas Massie grilling Pam Bondi. I actually wanted to go over this clip that I saw on X. Really funny clip. If you guys have not been able to take a look at the Pam Bondi situation, this congressional hearing, it is just loads of drama. I mean, U.S. politics are really an entertaining spectacle. So I'll go ahead and play these. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not falling behind on chats, though. So let's start from the top here and go through some chats. Okay, so Myron says, Riyadh's job for every stream will be impersonations. Not sure why I'm paying this nigga when this is my money. Wait, what? Yeah, it's funny because this is like bro sending me money and it's like, bro, I appreciate it, but you paid for like this whole streaming setup anyway, so thanks, man. Shout out to my brother. $50. Keep it coming, bro. Keep it coming. I love the super chats. The super chats are amazing. What a feature YouTube did here. You've got it. I mean, I'm getting like $20, $40. It's amazing. Now the Trump impressions are hilarious. They're all right. Thank you for that. That's from Where Legion. Okay. Yezen, $1. Thank you, Yezen. Love you, bro. CL says blessings. Thank you. This dude Epstein ruined the word pizza. It wouldn't let me spell Jeffrey's name correctly. Oh, wow. That's crazy. And that's from Halus. Thank you, bro. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. Really crazy. I don't know if YouTube's cracking down on that. I might want to look into that before I continue on in this topic. But we've switched gears anyways. But oy vey. Oy vey. I just need the money. You've got to send at least $5 if you want your chat read. I can't read a chat for $1. I'm going to be here all night. So send me the money so I could do the show. All right. Let's get into this meltdown by Pam Bondi. One video was with Congressman and Representative of California, Ted Lieu. But I wanted to do this one first. This is crazy, dude. Like, what are we doing? So here, I'll pull this up full screen for you guys. What are we doing? If you haven't watched this, this is must-see TV. This is funny.
Didn't ask Merrick Garland anything about Epstein, not once. When he was
weak sauce.
And also, I want the record to reflect that, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Is Jewish. I just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Or do you want to go there? Are you serious? Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust? Really?
The committee will be in.
What are we doing, bro? What are we doing? Are we solving this or are we having an emotional meltdown? I'm monetized, so I'm not going to say what you may think I want to say, but my brother would probably say it right now. You know, you got Pam Bondi, who's a female, and you've got, I believe her name is Becca Ballant. And, you know, they're just getting emotional. They're getting crazy. It's getting frisky. By the way, Pam Bondi's just totally, like, locked in mewing. Like, and she's just, like, totally freaking out. Cortisol maxing.
The committee will be in order.
Talk to Jared
she
Wise
storms
about
off.
anti-Semitism.
All right, bro.
The ranking member
Super cool.
knows that.
So this happened for 4 hours. So if you guys aren't aware, this was yesterday. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who works in the Trump administration and represents the DOJ, was brought to a congressional hearing on behalf of Congress in which they have the authorization to do that. And they bombarded her with a bunch of questions, got her to testify over a bunch of things in regards to this Epstein file drop. Now, if you're not aware, this all started with Donald Trump campaigning to release the Epstein files once he takes office in January of 2025. And so a lot of this is kind of coming from Trump shooting himself in his own foot. Really, this is just Congress calling out his bluff and making him walk the talk effectively. So that's kind of where this pressure has come from. In the beginning, I believe that Donald Trump had promised that he was going to release the Epstein files. And then once we got into January, in the beginning of his presidency, it was this whole switcheroony and it was this Democratic hoax. And I think even Charlie Kirk was playing along with that rhetoric. And so Congress got frustrated. Fast forward to, I believe, November of 2025, they passed the Epstein File Transparency Act, in which the Trump administration, or the DOJ rather, had to release these files and show it to the American public as they owed it to them. And Congress had the authorization to do that. So the deadline rolls around. I can't remember exactly what day it was in November, but this deadline rolls around and the DOJ is like just beating around the bush, hovering around it, and they drop these files in waves. So few files in waves, many of them being vague, not having much detail. And so this obviously caused a whole bunch of backlash and really bad approval ratings for the Trump administration and the DOJ overall. They finally released all of the files at the beginning of, I think it was January. And so now we're seeing the backlash or the whiplash of that. And they were beating the bush for a long time. They weren't trying to release them. And this is why Trump should have never promised to release them in the first place, because he just intensified the pressure for his own demise with these files being released. His name is in them like 5,000 times. So we're seeing Congress having a field day, many of these congressional members being Democratic, and so they are having tons of fun in scrutinizing Pam Bondi and making her blunder under oath, which I'll get into in a moment with Ted Lieu. But really, really interesting stuff here. This happened yesterday. You can watch the full video. I think AP News covered it. It was like 4 hours. So if you want, you could watch all 4 hours, but we'll watch like a few 10-minute clips. And Thomas Massie took to doing some of this himself and being investigative, and he grilled her as well. I wanted to react to that, so I'll go ahead and put this up on screen. But that's kind of the breakdown of the entire timeline, and this is all falling on Pam Bondi, who is the attorney general inside of the Trump cabinet. So we'll play this for you guys. I thought that this is a little bit longer-winded, but it's
behind me. I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victims' lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production.
Yeah, bro, huge blunder. Huge blunder. Big mistake by the DOJ. They released, so for you guys who aren't aware, they released so many victims' names that did not want their names released. Even their families didn't even know their names were in there. So on top of the weight of the Epstein files being dropped in the American public and for Congress to see as well, they also red-pilled a bunch of families as to their family members or their relatives being involved in this entire whole black ring thing. So, and a lot of these people wanted this stuff private. A lot of victims have come out and said such things. So good on Thomas Massie for highlighting that. I mean, yo, in these files, how many names are redacted that actually would piece together the puzzle for us? You know, when I was reading through these pizza and beef jerky emails, there were so many names that had we been able to actually read out, could probably piece together a better story. But of course, it's on purpose by the DOJ. And it's just a really bad attempt at a cover-up. We need the entire file release, and we need nothing redacted. Effectively, it nullifies the entire effect of these files being existent for us to look at without certain names being inputted. And these are presumably powerful people or people of influence or people that they're covering up for, but this just makes the Trump administration look way worse. Remember, this was the same administration that promised full transparency, signed the big bill in November to drop these files, and then played the game of dropping them in waves and never giving us a full picture. So good on Thomas Massie for calling that out. And he goes on here for like good 7 minutes.
Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there.
Bruh.
The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
Really bad look to cover up his name, by the way. Really bad look.
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where
stupid.
he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer?
And if she's being attacked from like 100 different congressional members right now, but you know, credit to her. She kind of held it together. But you know, I mean, hey man. You want to be a part of that sinking ship? Go crazy.
Come on. Let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr. Chairman. This is how this works.
Can I have my time back? Mr. Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from Kentucky.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
It's hard to see.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Here's
a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
4,700,
Okay.
and we invited you
Switch
in.
to the video.
This
Let
guy
him
has
cook.
Trump derangement syndrome. He
No, you do, nigga.
needs to get. You're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
time
go.
Hey. No Massie slander. You're lucky on YouTube. I'm on YouTube right now. I would have said something really mean. No Massie slander.
Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules
Himself,
here.
there is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
Got him. Massie was cooking here. And look, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi were doing the runaround as well with the Trump administration. So this is all blowing up in their faces way worse than anyone else because they're the ones who have to sit here and defend this shit. Obviously, Donald Trump is under a lot of heat and scrutiny as well, but this is really difficult for them because they're contradicting themselves real time. And I thought Thomas Massie did a really good job of calling out all the inconsistencies and contradictions that were made throughout the course of Trump's brand new term. So really good job being done here by yours truly.
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim
because
time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to
most
know at what
transparent-
point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen, please, to release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has
Which,
expired.
may she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
She didn't answer the question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, I would,
order.
Mr. Chairman, could she answer the question?
Chairman, I was wondering,
The gentlelady's allowed, the Attorney General is allowed to respond the way she wants to respond to any member's questions, Republican, Democrat.
All right, I have unanimous consent request.
Gentleman's recognized for a UC.
All right.
All right.
We'll go on to this video here. I got another good video. More drama. Okay. There's more where that came from. So Ted Lieu, who is a congressman, he is representative of California. People are saying that she lied under oath. You make the judgment call for yourself.
2 photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you are...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. What these niggas on, man? What are these niggas on, bro? What is... You know, there's no amount of context that can make these photos make any sort of sense. You know, people get crazy and they have fun and they're drunk, but these photos are crazy.
allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the federal victims.
By the way, guys, this guy is a super Democrat. This guy is very left, so he is having himself a field day right now. And that's what these Democrats are going to continue to do throughout 2026 until November. They are going to have a field day in absolutely dismantling the image of the Trump administration, which they've effectively already done in the 4 hours that was given for Bondi's hearing. So very, very opportunistic moment for these guys to gain influence and grab a lot of House and Senate seats. But he's having himself a blast right now.
Trafficking Protection Act. Not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime.
You know, they're taking the photos down, and he just wants to mentally destroy her here.
And more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
Were
the
you not here
during
then?
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General
Dropped the
Bill
ball.
Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I answer
person.
your question
This is where he really puts her in a corner. I'm not gonna lie.
about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's a video.
Just two niggas hanging out, man. What's the problem? That was a joke. That was a joke. Fucking relax. That was a joke. Take it easy. Me and my brother reacted to this. And I'll say this again. You got Donald Trump, real estate mogul, NYC playboy, well known to the entire, I mean, at least to the United States, you know, A+ list celebrity. You've got Jeffrey Epstein. He is a billionaire, motion-having ass nigga with lots of women. And they're both hanging out in Mar-a-Lago, pointing out women, being womanizers. And, you know, my brother wants to have a good time in the club. You know, my brother doesn't club a lot. And so my brother's with Clavicular and Nick Fuentes and Sneeko, and the whole gang's in town. The Tates are in town. And so they say, hey, let's hit the club. Let's go to the club. This would be a really good bit for the stream. They're doing an IRL stream. So they go to the club, and, you know, niggas in the club doing nigga shit. Niggas having a good time. And a song is played. I don't know how I have no idea how the song came on. Honestly, this one crazy song, really crazy song, comes on, and, you know, they're just enjoying themselves. You're in the club, you know, you're in the midst of all these emotions, so many people around you, and so you just have a good time. The song comes on. Next day, the whole world freaks out. It's like this. It's like they kill. It's as if they took someone's life, and now they can't go to any other club in the world. Donald Trump is still free. Jeffrey Epstein could potentially still be alive in Tel Aviv. I mean, the double standard is crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Double standard is crazy. You know, you got niggas want to have fun in the club. Niggas want to have fun in the club, play a song, end of the world. You got Mossad asset billionaire here, guy who's convicted of several sexual crimes in those files that have to do with this guy's investigation here next to him. They're here womanizing, where, like, they could still go to the club. Anyways, crazy. Double standard is crazy.
Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous.
Answer the question. Answer the question, nigga. The holy deflection. Don't worry, she answers it. Don't you worry, she answers it.
And that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked.
We can't be serious. We can't be serious here. So not only are you being grilled by several congressional members over pretty much fact at this point, okay, we read the files, buddy. You go on to say this under oath, okay? Big deal if you lie under oath. If you didn't know that, now you know. And
those files,
I reclaim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock.
By the way, most transparent administration, yeah, you guys had to get like your necks cramped on with, you guys had to be choked by Congress to release only half files that are redacted in, a majority of areas that would give us key points of context to point out further perpetrators.
My time. Stop the clock.
The legislation. This is
time.
This
Like
is
time
ridiculous.
time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another
Damn, nigga, you got a name. Time belongs to the gentleman from California. All right.
document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you
all right, Batman. All right, nigga. Took that shit way too far. So yeah, I'm actually gonna try and pull this up now, or maybe we'll be able to. Is it legible here? I can kind of read through this. So I guess there was some limousine driver for Trump, and he overheard Trump on some phone conversation that really disturbed him. That's what Ted Lieu is referring to here. And so we could briefly read through it if you guys had not already taken the time to read through it. It's in the files, but we can read it here through this video screenshot. And so it says, blank asked blank about his time driving limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During blank time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. I'm sorry, so much of this is redacted, so just bear with me. Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was, quote, a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things that he was saying, end quote. So this is the limousine driver referring to Trump's conversation. As caller chose not to, blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to, quote, abusing some girl, end quote. Blank was unsure who he was talking to nor who he was referencing. As blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, blank immediately, there's so much redaction here, it's difficult for me to string together these sentences. Blank demeanor went stone cold. His demeanor went stone cold as blank stated, quote, he, G-R-A-P-E-D, me. Okay, I'm not going to say that on YouTube. Blank said, what? As blank replied, Donald J. Trump had graped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Noted, some girl with a funny name took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. So I guess this limousine driver overheard Trump's phone conversation, really disturbing things. This blew up. If you didn't see it in the beginning of January, this is one of the main things that everybody took to on X. And one of the main things the first things people found. I mean, look, man, are these claims substantiated? Are they proven? Of course not. But do they look really, really bad? Yeah, I'll be the first to acknowledge that. They look really bad. I understand they're not substantiated and everything is hearsay and anybody could say whatever they want. But I mean, there is something to be said about these people and these victims or these witnesses not immediately being brought forth by the FBI or the DOJ for questioning and further investigation. So there is some sort of kind of cover up here in regards to Trump and his actions and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which is why Pam Bondi is absolutely struggling for these 4 hours where she's dealing with this line of questioning from every single congressional member. So, yeah, I mean, look, they have a point. They have a point, and there is something to what they're saying. But take the time and looking at some of these. My brother did a really good breakdown earlier in regards to the logistics and everything. If you guys don't know, my brother formerly worked for the government. And so he knows the ins and outs of all the intricacies and details, something that a lot of other creators are not going to be able to give you insight onto. So really, really good stuff there. But let's go into the... Oh, somebody got Shadow Realm. Nice. Let's go into the super chats here. And see if I can pull them all up. Apologies if I missed your chat, man, because sometimes they run out quick. That boy Kevion, $5. Why do you believe Islam is the true way to God and not Christianity? Good question. I believe Islam is the true way to God because, and I love my Christians, so don't get mad, but Islam is not contradictory in its creed upon God and his nature. And I've studied Christianity to some degree, at least to where I can make a discernment as to whether I believe in it or not. And Islam makes far more sense. Not only that, the historical authorship of the Quran and textual criticism points to it being a lot more reliably, at least historically, than the New Testament. The New Testament has, unfortunately, a lot of omissions. The gospel authors, despite popular claim, actually are anonymous. And something that's really interesting, too, the historical Jesus Christ, from a scholarship perspective, at least a secular one, is far more parallel to that of Islam's perception of Jesus Christ, that of him being a man who was a Messiah or the Messiah, which in Jewish or Hebrew, just means the chosen or anointed one, a Masech, right? Or Messiah, whatever you say in Hebrew. And so I find that the historical Jesus that is studied by secular scholars is a lot more in line with the Islamic perspective of Jesus. Also, everybody also argues the contradiction of the crucifixion. Islam says that the crucifixion never happened, whereas historical authorship and a lot of credible scholarly sources say that the crucifixion in fact did happen, but that's not in contention or contradiction with Islam whatsoever. The Quran does not deny the crucifixion in any way. It says that it appeared onto the people that it happened that way, and so there's no issue there. And I can go on for hours and hours, but I don't find Christianity to be as in line with logic when it comes to the Trinity being the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. I think it is heretical no matter how you slice it or dice it. And if you do some analyzation and some studying upon the early church fathers, there is an ontological difference between the Son and the Father. I have come to that conclusion myself as well in doing my deep dive into both religions and comparative religion as a whole. So I don't find Christianity to be convincing, unfortunately, but I don't have an issue with Christians. I don't have an agenda against Christians. In Islam and in the Quran, Christians are revered as closer to Muslims than anyone else in certain passages and contexts. And so, yeah, that's my reasoning as to why I don't believe in Christianity. And I have done, a good deal of studying, lots of things that I find to be contradictions in the first four Gospels, even between those four, Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. And also the Christology, the Christology of the Gospels in their chronological order. There's something to be said about that. You start with Mark, you move to Matthew, Luke, and John, and progressively the Christology gets more aggressive. This idea of Christ actually being God and being God incarnate develops over these Gospels. And so it's evident that each author, this is what the textual critics say, each author had either gospel or source in front of them. And whoever had wrote John, I know Christians will say that was John, but whoever had wrote John, because I believe it is carbon dated, at least the earliest New Testament manuscript, or what scholarly consensus has come to is that John was 100 AD. And so it's the latest gospel and it has the highest Christology. For these reasons, I don't find Christianity to be very convincing. But I mean, look, I watch the debates and stuff. I look at all the comparative religion stuff, and that's just my reason. I'll give a thorough answer on that because that's the first time somebody's asked me. But yeah, Myron says it was me. It was me, Austin, all along. Yeah, I mean, if you saw the clip in the club, who else is gonna request for that song to be played? Come on, it's pretty obvious. We know the brains behind the method there. So yeah, is that it for chats? All right, this chat was redacted. But yeah, that's my take on comparative religion, and I have no problem with Christians. I think Christianity, Sam Shimon goes in depth about what you are in doubt of. Yeah, I've seen his work. I go into that stuff, but I I just don't find Christianity to be convincing. You know, I had this epiphany in college. My senior year of college, you know, I wasn't practicing, I wasn't religious, and so I took it upon myself to kind of review, well, at least 2 religions, not 3 for obvious reasons, because one is exclusionary. And, you know, I found Islam to make the most sense, and I thought that I was being charitable in my hunt for the truth. So I looked into a lot of comparative religious stuff. I watched a bunch of Sam Shimon. You know, Sam Shimon is very knowledgeable, but he's just too provocative. So that hurts his style. And I watched a lot of Ali Atai. If you guys don't know who that is, he is a New Testament scholar. He has a PhD in hermeneutics. I don't know if he's a New Testament scholar. I think he's a biblical scholar. And he speaks Hebrew, he speaks Arabic, he speaks English. He breaks these things down in really great detail, and his work is very interesting. Regardless of your religion, even if you're a Christian, there's things to learn from him in regards to Judaism and its origins and things like that. So I really recommend him for religious dialogue and education, and a couple other guys that I watch. But the whole apologetic scene has really grown to be brain rot. You know, I'm seeing the situation with God Logic and Muslim Lantern and Sheikh Uthman, and it's like, what are we doing? You know, I don't know if somebody watches a religious debate and goes, wow, I'm convinced I'm definitely going to become a Christian or I'm going to become a Muslim. I think it's 2 opposing sides that just want to feed their own ego, and they clash heads in the comment section. If you really want to find what religion lines up for you or what you find to be the truth, because there's only one truth, of course, well, then it's upon you to actually be, you know, educationally honest or academically honest and do that deep dive yourself. But that's the problem. People want to be lazy. They want to watch a debate and then have that determine their worldview. So, you know, no offense to the Christians. I love my Christians. All my friends are really Christians, to be honest. And we debate. We have our debates, but that's my reasoning. Bossman Rixie says, how do I become a good speaker like you? Money to get out of the Matrix. I appreciate that, bro. You know, I don't know if I'm that good of a speaker, but I think it's just something you're born with, man, to be honest with you. I know there's like speech classes, speech therapy, but, you know, you just got to talk slower. Slower is faster in many instances. When you try to talk fast, like Ben Shapiro, you end up kind of stuttering over your own speech and not remembering what you were going to say next. So just kind of talking slower, taking your time, knowing what you want to say. It's kind of hard for me to explain. I just do it, but, you know, I'm not the best speaker. And, you know, so my brother sent another chat here. Oh, okay. This is the chat from earlier. All right. I think we're caught up on chats. I really apologize if you sent a chat and I didn't read it. I really, really apologize. I think I caught all of them, but, you know, I'm new to this, so I'm going to have a how to run a YouTube stream 101 with my brother. But I think we're doing all right for the first stream. But anyways, I was going to get into some videos I react to, and then I think we'll wrap up shortly here. We've been on for, has it been what, like maybe 2 hours or so? And so I was going to get into some videos that I saw on X. My brother kind of went into this earlier in regards to the whole Larry Wheels situation, but I thought that it was really funny. Oh, you know what? Actually, we can react to this. Here, let me pull this up on screen. Okay, so we were supposed to look at this the other day, me and my brother. So I saw this on TikTok, and I honestly thought it was fake, but it seems to be real. And it reads here, 3 illegal immigrants were arrested for firing on a packed Texas highway and shooting at a family during a road rage ambush. These are the kind of people that Democrats want to keep in your neighborhoods. And we could watch this video. This is crazy. Full auto, dude. Yeah. Crazy. So crazy. Okay. Huge L here. Yeah, I mean, look, these are the people Democrats want to keep in your neighborhoods. There's some truth to that. And Trump is, this lines up perfectly with what's going on right now. You know, ICE agents are pulling back big time in major cities, not only in Texas, but in Minneapolis primarily. Trump is letting up the steam, and he's taking his foot off of the accelerator, which to me seemed to be coming. I saw that coming once the whole Alex Preddy situation took place. I kind of knew from Trump's answer to the press. I think somebody had asked him what his thoughts were on it. And he said something along the lines of, it's terrible, we have to investigate. And it's like, yeah, you've got to investigate, and it is terrible. I totally agree with that, but two things can exist at the same time. What he did that day was really stupid. To approach armed officers who are apprehending a suspect in a already really tense situation where they're in danger anyways. They're being barricaded by cars. They're being pushed around by people. There's being whistles blown at them to disorient them. People are macing them. People are pepper spraying them. People are hitting them with cars. People are blocking their cars. So these aren't peaceful demonstrations in Minnesota. These are calculated attacks against ICE agents. And so there's a reason as to why they're so tense and why they're moving like that. And you being somebody who has a firearm legally, meaning you have some sort of training or background in firearm safety and common sense with your firearm, not being negligent, you go in between an ICE agent and the suspect they're apprehending, and you involve yourself in that situation. That's effectively unaliving yourself intentionally. To me, that's unaliving by cop. And so, he hits the ground and he gets pepper sprayed. He's still fighting. Officer pulls a gun. I'm not sure if the firearm went off. Next thing you know, there's like 8 or 9 shots in his back. Look, it's terrible. But these ICE agents are under an immense amount of pressure, and they're not taught to shoot to, disable somebody or stop them in their tracks. They're taught differently. They're taught to shoot with the intent of neutralizing whatever the threat is in front of them. And so that's what they did. And Donald Trump, instead of responding in a way that I just explained it to you guys, goes, well, it's terrible, and we've got to, look, I saw the video and I thought it was horrible, and we've got to figure something out. And it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people there. Trump is so vague when he explains shit. It's like, bro, can you make a point? Trump is like, well, you got to realize it's a lot of people. And, he came up to the agents and the cops, and it's terrible. It's terrible. And we've got to look at it. We've got to do some more digging, and it's horrible. And it's like, that answer is not going to get you far against all the Democratic pressure that's on its way to you. So really, really bad answer from Trump. And now we're seeing ICE pull back in Minneapolis and other major cities. Who knows if that's a cover-up by the GOP? Maybe they're going to continue in doing what they're doing. But I guess the narrative now is that they're only going after criminals like these ones that we just watched. But yeah, man, you just can't get 1 million illegal immigrants out of the country without being forceful. That's the truth. Unfortunately, that's the ugly truth. People think that forced removing of illegal aliens means, you just tell somebody, hey, hands behind your back and head on out. And it's, they're not going to do that. They're going to fight. And so force needs to be met with force, unfortunately. And sometimes in certain instances, people offer too much force and ICE agents feel fear for their life. And so they do what they do. And could you make the argument that they didn't have to shoot them? You can make it all day. But why start the story in the middle? It's the same thing with October 7th. We could talk about how October 7th was bad all day long. Why are you starting in the middle? So it's the same thing there. He should have never approached them. And that goes for all the other tragic shootings that happen. And I say tragic because they are tragic. You don't want to see anybody die. That stuff's not cool. But, there is something to be said about people bringing demise upon themselves. And these situations like the one I just showed you and others are direct examples of that. And so it is frustrating to see the response from Trump. Vance was a little bit more based on it, actually. Vance tweeted. Actually, I'll read his tweet right now. Pull that up in a second. And any chats come in? No. JD. Because look, people voted for this, okay? You banked on this when you campaigned and you said you were going to take office and make America great again. You campaigned on mass deportations, and you should have known what that implicated. You should have known what that was going to emblematically look like. And now that we're seeing these mass deportations and what they look like, now everybody's being scared and cowering away. Many people on the right as well. And it's like, what are we doing, bro? We're never going to win. So here, let's see if I can pull up this JD Vance tweet. 1 second, guys. All right. Okay. This is Yahoo News here. Actually, this isn't the tweet. 1 second, guys. See if I can pull it up. Well, here, actually, we could just watch this video.
It was actually...
So this is after Renee Good. And this is what he had to say.
Walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If
you can't understand what he's saying, it's over for you, all right? It's over for you. If you cannot understand whether you like him or you don't, if you cannot understand the greater good and the grand scheme of things and what he's saying, it's over for you. Just forget about it. Forget about being involved in politics. Forget about your opinions. You're probably room temperature IQ. And regardless of whatever you want to say and being charitable and understanding that ICE could have taken the precautionary measure and not maybe shooting them, and if you're thinking with that framework, it's already over. You're dumb. You're stupid. Why? Why are these people doing this in the first place? You're not Batman. You're not a hero. Law and order is a thing for a reason. That's why we're able to enjoy the benefits and the freedoms of this country. If we didn't have law and order, well, we would not live in a first world country. For our country to prosper, for our economy to be bolstered the way it is, for us to be the world's superpower, we need to make sure we have a country with order. And that means not impeding federal law enforcement in their investigations, regardless of how abrasive or how, uncharacteristic it may seem for them. It doesn't matter. What they're doing, according to the government, is lawful, okay? They're executively carrying out their lawful rights, and they're allowed to remove people forcibly. And if people want to impede their investigation and try and ram them with the car or try and jump on them and tackle them while they're in the middle of their investigation, they have full right to do what they need to do, and unfortunately, in many instances, neutralize that threat. Now, I can recognize on the opposing side of things why this doesn't seem good optically. I get that. But with that being said, that's still not a justification for you to start the story in the middle and say, well, I just feel like. It doesn't matter what you feel like. They broke the law. There's law and order, okay? We can go down an endless rabbit hole of, well, I feel like. Yeah, I feel like that too. Yeah, maybe I feel like I wish these people survived. Of course I feel that way. But you kind of can't get all the benefits without seeing some of the ugly sides of what we need to do to give people a prosperous country. And some of that means law and order. You fuck with the police and you're going to find out. And in many instances with ICE, you fuck with them in major cities where they're being persecuted, like Minneapolis, where people are calculatedly controlling attacks on them on Discord, doxing them and telling of their whereabouts. Well, then yeah, maybe they will just use lethal force on you. Newsflash, oh my God, big surprise. ICE just shot somebody because they rammed them with a car. What are you, dumb? What are you doing? Go home. And be honest with you, I've never been a fan of public demonstrations. I feel like they always cause some sort of deadly spectacle or something negative. At least that's what the implication always seems to be. Look at the Arab Spring in 2011. The Middle East got completely destabilized. And I get it. Sometimes the wrong person's in charge. I get it. Sometimes the government's not doing everything they need to do. That's why you do things the civilized way. That's why we live in a first world country. You try to get into these positions of power and make a change. Okay? You do what Ted Lieu does, and you make it to Congress, and then you fry Pam Bondi for defending Trump in the Epstein Files. That's how you do it. You don't do a public demonstration and calculate an attack against an ICE agent and then get surprised when you get tased or, God forbid, shot. Are you dumb? Are you stupid? We're in the United States. That's not going to fly here. You want law and order? You want a safe country? Stay your ass home and do things the right way. If you don't, you may suffer the consequences. Big deal. Everybody's so shocked. But that's my take on that. And I was really annoyed when that all was happening. And I get it. There's going to be an outrage and there's going to be a spectacle and everybody's going to be mad on X. And so they have the right to be and they can voice their opinion on it. But we need to be careful in doing this whole kind of demonstration against the government and things like that, because it leads us down this path of this Antifa brain rot where you got people doing things that have nothing to do with U.S. code, U.S. ethics, the Constitution, or anything like that. So we got to be fair both ways. But yeah, I think that's really it. Iran, there's really none going on, man. I mean, I can go over. I thought that this article was interesting. We'll wrap it up here in a moment. So send in your chats if you have any concluding statements or you disagree with what I said. Send in your chats. Not that I want the money, of course, so I can interact with my chat. The hell. But here, we'll pull this up and take a look. I thought that this was interesting. Now, the political experts may say, this doesn't mean war is happening. This is typical U.S. protocol. I don't know, nigga. I don't know about that. Pentagon to restock massive ordnance penetrator bombs dropped by B-2s on Iran. Okay, if you don't remember, back in June, we bombed the shit out of their nuclear facilities, and now we're arming back up with bunker buster bombs that can do the same thing that we did in June effectively, but probably on a worse level. So this reads here. This is by Chris Gordon from Airspace Forces. It says the U.S. military is moving to restock its supply of GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator bunker-busting bombs it used against Iran's underground nuclear facilities last June. According to Air Force documents, the Air Force is finalizing a deal with Boeing worth over $100 million to replace the bombs it used to pummel Iran's Fordow and Natanz nuclear sites. If you don't remember, that's where we bombed back in June. And then Trump came on the news and said, it was amazing. What was the word? Somebody put a word that Trump always says. It was the greatest. We stopped them. They never saw it coming. And I tell you what, they better watch it because we see them and we know what they're doing. All right, I'm done. I'm like addicted to that impression. In partially redacted documents released on a government website February 12th, the service said the acquisition is critically needed to replenish the inventory of GBU-57s expended during Operation Midnight Hammer. That was the one in June. The service is also continuing its competition for the next generation weapons to take out deeply buried targets. U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bombers dropped 14 weapons on the sites in the operation on June 22, 2025. Each of the B-2s carried 2 MOPs. 6 of the bombs were dropped on Fordow and 2 were dropped on Natanz. Operation Midnight Hammer was the first time the 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs were used operationally. Now, many geopolitical experts took to this and came to the conclusion that we probably did not do as much damage as Donald Trump claimed we did. What's the surprise there? Donald Trump is always bombastic and exaggerative in his descriptions of, certain military operations, but it's fine. But there's a greater thing to see here. Why are we loading back up? And why is Pete Hegseth telling everybody that we're getting 400 missiles a month? It's pretty indicative that war is imminent and we're about to enter a full-scale, probably air-heavy war with Iran. Now, boots on ground could be introduced, especially if we want regime change, but these are all signs of a bad conclusion or a bad ending. And so, some people are saying that this is typical U.S. protocol. I was kind of reading some of that on X, but I really don't think so. I think the U.S. is arming up. I think they approached Iran's territory in the Persian Gulf and realized that Iran was a lot more well-prepared than they had once anticipated. And so Trump pulled back. And look, the meeting on Wednesday with Netanyahu was, I think, probably a sign for Iran to get ready or for Iran to come to the table and do a deal, but they cannot do a deal about the missiles. That's the only thing that keeps that country in existence. And so we've got to be realistic. We can't make maximalist demands, and we just cannot continue to be a moral hazard or Israel be a moral hazard for the United States. And this war is indicative, or this war is a definition of that. If we get into this war with Iran, I think that the consequences are going to be far greater than people realize because the whole region is really going to suffer. Iran is probably going to attack several countries that house U.S. military bases, and that's going to cause for a lot of drama and issues in the region. God knows what could happen after that. Obviously, the U.S. and Israel have nuclear weapons, and, that's far-fetched, but you never know what can happen when war ensues. So that's kind of the update on that. Obviously, Netanyahu met with Trump in Washington briefly on Wednesday. either one of two things happened. He blackmailed him, or he told him, hey, if you don't bomb Iran, I'm going to do it. So I don't know how Trump strung his way out of that. I think he took to Truth Social, actually, to go over what the conversation was about. So let me check that out. And if there's nothing on that, then I'll go ahead and wrap up the stream here. If there's any chats, I'll read them in a moment. But yeah, that's where we're at with Iran. Get ready to go to Iran and die for you-know-who. Let's see. He's talking about Venezuela. He mentioned Pam Bondi. That's funny. I don't look at this often because Trump sometimes annoys me, man. But he did take to Truth Social and he spoke about his meeting with Big Yahoo. I can't find it. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, that's where we're at with the war, or the war that's imminent at least. Let's hope that some sort of agreement can be reached in all of these negotiations. Stephen Witkoff and Jared Kushner said that they made some progress on Friday in Oman, so we'll see if that's actually true. And there's no further conclusion as to where these meetings are going to go. At least we don't have a clear picture as of yet, but Iran is definitely not going to want to speak about anything except their nuclear program, and Israel wants the exact opposite conversation to take place. And so we're at a crossroads, and unfortunately, Tehran is in the crosshairs. So that's pretty much that. But that's pretty much it for the stream, guys. I don't know if there's really anything else I wanted to cover. I've got to make like some sort of chat or something where I can react to clips that you guys submit, unless somebody puts something in the chats now. But it's somebody asked for mods. There's too many people in the chat for mods. Okay, I'll look into that. I apologize. But yeah, that's really it for the stream. Let me finish up with chats here and wrap this up. I really appreciate all the love. Like the video before you get out of here, please. That helps me a lot. Okay, I think we're caught up. We're caught up on chats. But, oh, I'm new to this, bro. Okay, thank you for that, Chesco. How do I become a good speaker like you? Okay, we're all caught up. All right, guys, so that's that. That's it. Put it on screen, please. Maybe a Discord for clips. I could do that, yeah. I'm not familiar with Discord, bro. I'm not going to lie, bro. If you're not a streamer and you use Discord, you might be an incel, bro. No woman mods. W. Riyadh needs a motto? Somebody said I should make my channel name Riyadh Pilled. Or Riyadh Pilled. I thought that was kind of good. I thought that was low-key fire. We'll see. We'll see. But anyways, that's it for the stream tonight, guys. I really appreciate all the love. We actually had a lot more viewership than I anticipated. I think my brother gave me a shout-out or something. But love everybody in here. Thank you for coming through. Follow me on Twitter. Or X, sorry. It's going to be RYADFUDL. Literally, it's linked in my YouTube bio. And it's also in one of my most recent posts on YouTube. So follow me on X. Follow me on Instagram. Instagram, I'll be doing updates as to when I'm be going live, probably soon in the future. I gotta kind of play low now and be careful. And then X, same thing. And I also, make funny tweets and stuff, making fun of Matt Walsh and all that. So, but yeah, we'll get the mods tightened up, guys. I know I'm probably gonna need more mods than what we currently have, and I'll get that situated. But the streams, okay. Somebody asked a good question. What's the stream schedule? I'm really not sure. I think I'll be. We shared your stream on Myron's Discord. Okay, got it. Thank you, Jacob. I'm not sure. I think I'll probably be on the weekends, guys. Anticipate that. Right now, things are kind of up in the air. My brother's all over the place. Right now, he's in South Carolina getting ready to do his college debate. Make sure you check in Uncensored America tomorrow at 12 p.m. I don't know if they're going to broadcast it live, but that video should get posted at some point on the weekend, maybe later in the beginning of the week. We'll look out for that. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter. They always have the live updates as to what my brother's doing and how everything's going with those debates. So make sure you check in there if you're not already there. And give me a follow on X. I do good, funny political posts on there similar to my brother. Give me to 1,000 followers on there. And yeah, man, we're going to run this up. We're going to run this up. I really appreciate all the love, guys. Also, if anybody wants to make clips, because I've got to start uploading some shorts onto YouTube, contact me, DM me. I have a lot of DMs I haven't went through, but DM me and let me know if you can do clips for me. We can create some sort of schedule or work something out. But other than that, we are debate live coverage stream, rare algorithm poll. Yeah, that's a crazy poll. Get Myron's brother in your algorithm. We can all be here when Myron's not streaming. Yeah, that's the goal. If I ever do a solo stream, it's not going to be at the same time as my brother. Rad-pilled. Yeah, I don't know. I might do something cool like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to actually wrap up now. And I'll leave this live up. I think I kept it relatively clean. No copyright, no crazy words. So I'm going to leave this up on the channel. Go ahead and check it out. If you just tuned in now and you didn't catch the stream, just play it back. It'll stay on the channel. And look forward to going live maybe tomorrow night, but if not, Sunday night. So bank on Sunday night. If I don't go live tomorrow night, the news has just been slow, bro. There's really not much to talk about. You know, I'm over here talking about Alex Preddy like, bro, that was 10 years ago. So the news has been slow, but if there's something that comes up that's interesting tomorrow, I can go live. But I anticipate if I were to go live tomorrow, it'll be a brain rot stream. I don't want to really do that. Adil Hiba, my brother, says, where do you see the Middle East the next 50 years? Where do you see the Middle East in the next 50 years? I don't know, man. It's either going to look like Gaza in a parking lot because a certain country is going to get it there, or MBS, the leader of Saudi Arabia, and his plan to make the Middle East the new West will come to fruition. There is something to be said about those Gulf countries. I think they have a promising future, but at the same time, they get tied in with the Israel-U.S. axis, and they could be a target for Iranian proxies moving forward. But it's all speculative. It's hard to say. The Middle East has been a destable region. You can point that to spiritual reasons as well, right? That's where the three major religions had their inception, and so there's always that kind of spiritual aspect. And I believe there's something to that. There's something spiritual about the Middle East, and it's kind of hard for these religions to coincide, if you know what I'm saying. So, or coexist and live peacefully amongst one another. And so that seems to always be some of the reason for controversy, or all of it, really. So that's really it. Riyadh for President, we love you. Love you too, bro. I appreciate that. Guys, I'm going to wrap up here. Follow me on X. Follow me on Twitter. Linked in my bio. And we're going to end stream now. Shout out to everybody. Like the video. Get my engagement up. Love you guys.